Warzone pros always know where players are, or how they're able to fight entire teams by themselves? Well, I did, but instead of acting like it's all bot lobbies and cheats, I decided to learn how they do it. So I dedicated myself to 30 days of learning solo squads with the goal of dropping a 30 bomb on Rebirth or Fortune's Keep. And do it all without VPNing, 2-boxing, cheating, or manipulating my lobbies whatsoever. But why? What's the point? There are hundreds of streamers that drop 40 bombs every single day. And besides, it's just a game, bro. Stop taking it so serious. See, I've been playing Warzone since the day it launched, and I've been blessed to make it my full-time job. Let's go! My content is about helping the average player get good at the game, but there's a problem. That same average player plays on a console with a controller in Resurgence squads. Since 2020, 90% of my playtime has been on a PC with a keyboard and mouse in Battle Royale solos. Why would the average player listen to me? So even though I was a top 1% Warzone keyboard player, I decided to completely start over. I became a level 99 player stuck in a level 1 player's body. But I recently learned controller, and now I'm learning solo squads. In this video, I'm gonna give you the blueprint for how in 30 days, I learned to play solo squads like a pro, quadrupled my KD, dropped a 30 bomb, and all the lessons I learned along the way. It's time to get good.
Ja, lass mal schauen, Leute.
Week 1 was to assess where I am, what I need to work on, and then adjust my training going into week 2. My plan was broken up into 2 types of days: training days and content days. On training day, I started with practice drills, bot chase, centering, and veteran bots. I'm gonna do a more in-depth video on these soon, but it's pretty simple. Bot chase is a private match with bots on your team that you chase around. You keep your crosshair on them at all times. This warms up your aiming thumb and trains you to think about centering more. My centering drill is completely focused on centering. This time, 3 enemy bots with my sprint and aim assist turned off. I practice putting my crosshair where the enemy is most likely to show up and react as quickly as possible. The last drill is veteran bots. 5 minutes shooting without aim assist and 5 with aim assist. Then I'd move into game practice for 2 to 3 hours, playing trios and quads depending on the playlists. I use the website ggs.ai and my notebook to track the stats of each game and take notes about my performance. After that was VOD review, studying one of my games to see what mistakes I can fix, and studying a pro to learn what they do. I chose Biffle. More on that later. Then I'd do another session of game practice. Now the last thing might seem a little weird, but it was extremely important.
Das ist actually eine gute Idee, Chat. Ich habe, glaube ich, sogar noch ein Notizbuch. Also das Tracking werde ich auch machen. Jetzt bin das umsetzen als erster wahrscheinlich. Aber das Tracking werden wir auch durchführen, Chat. Hier, ich habe hier mein Notizbuch und mein Dingsens. Ich werde in Solo-Sports reingehen. Jetzt dann auch aufschreiben. Was mache ich falsch? Wie reagiere ich da? Was hätte ich da machen sollen?
Because I was recording all my games, I took the best moments of aim, movement, and decision making that I wanted to replicate and put it into a video that I kept on my phone. It's called a confidence tape. A few times a day and before bed, I would watch this video to reinforce the good things I was doing. This helped my confidence and let my brain get in mental reps, which can be just as important as physical reps, especially on the days like content days where I'm not playing. My content days looked like this. First thing in the morning, I'd knock out my aim training, review my notes, and watch my confidence tape. Then I'd make a video, breaking down one of my highlights, mistakes, or something more planned out, all of which are up on my channel already. But regardless of the video, I made sure I was teaching, because that's one of the most underrated ways to solidify your knowledge on something is to teach it to someone else, which was part of the training strategy. Now with the plan in place, I was ready for my first game. My first game was actually going pretty well. I was winning fights, making smart decisions, only died twice, and ended up with 15 kills in 5th place. Not bad. Hey, that was a really good game, I'm not gonna lie.
Ja, das stimmt.
That was a confidence booster for sure. I think we had like, what, 15?
Ich verstehe, was ihr vorhabt.
Let's go. My day 1 KD was a 1.8.
Das ist
On day
nice.
3, I was already putting together everything I learned and wiping squads. In this situation, we get an occupation scan, which gives us free information. One of the most important parts to fighting outnumbered. On my map is a team that looks alone and spread out down at industry. Selecting the right teams is how you avoid stacking and force 1v1s. Looking at my map, I see one headed towards the buy station, so I push and center my aim.
Ja, okay.
Now I reposition to plate and reload, but his teammate goes roof. I can't fight yet, so I run and get him to chase me downstairs. Now instead of going for the finish here, I remember that the occupation scan from earlier showed the 3rd player down by the water. He definitely had enough time to get here, so I run, shut this door on my way, and bait him to push in. And I use my movement and aim to finish. On day 4, I broke down that same clip in a video. The rest of the week went pretty well, but I was struggling to get to end games, and when I did, finish them for wins. My total KD for the week was a 2.3, and my big takeaways were, I can do this. I don't need to be afraid of fighting outnumbered anymore. From studying Biffle, I learned to live ping everything, abuse smokes, and keep working on my centering. But by far the two biggest things I learned in week 1 were that staying alive is more important than almost anything, and that splitting teams up into separate 1v1s is the key to fighting outnumbered. Going into week 2, I made some adjustments. I didn't like playing 3 hours and then doing VOD study. I wanted quicker feedback on my games, that way I could improve as the session went on. Now I would play 3 games, immediately review the best one, take a break, and then repeat as much as I could. Week 2, I learned the most, but felt overwhelmed. There were good moments, great moments, and terrible moments.
Ja, war unlucky, dass das Slide nicht funktioniert.
I dropped my first Trios 20 bomb though, because I started focusing on something that's extremely important to fighting outnumbered. Today was a game changer. So the thing that I think helped me the most is this week I've been focusing on learning how to read the minimap. Because I played solos, I never really, I know how to read the minimap, and I've always looked at the minimap for information. It's huge, it's so important. But in squads, it is like literally everything. And there's one training change that I made that helped me a ton. In my private match training, I turned on directional sweep, and I was actually just going through shooting veteran bots with no aim assist, but also looking at the minimap after every kill and calling out positions, where they were going, and it really gave me a lot more like concrete confidence on what I was doing in game. Learning that reading your minimap was a skill just as important as your aim ended up being number 2 on a list I wrote that day of my top 10 important things. And the funny thing is that list actually ended up turning into a video that you guys absolutely loved. And if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend watching after this. But overall, my week 2 gameplay was inconsistent because I was trying to implement so many new things that I was learning in game. And at this point, I knew I needed an outside perspective to help me get out of the weeds. So I called my friend Joe, a fantastic Warzone coach, to watch one of my games and point me in the right direction. Now we did this for about an hour and a half, but I condensed it down into 5 minutes of absolute gold for anyone trying to learn how to play outnumbered.
Okay, so here's the one thing I would tell you here. Okay. You know, especially as you're improving. First of all, great job right here. Okay, so I always say, whenever we are fighting outnumbered, what is the safest spot that you can get the thirst from? In this case, really good job. You cooked a nade, you're able to get that thirst. Now, you know, when we are playing solo quads, there's 2 important things to understand. Number 1, we're always going to look for the solo fight, right? So if we have a 1v1 fight, we're going to take it. The longer we wait to act on information, the more it's going to change. So when we push in here, and as we're plating, right, we're getting information, we see this guy down below, I want you to start to have the ability to say, I'm better than you. I trust my movement. I trust my ability to execute and hit high damage areas. So I'm just going to go ahead and push you.
Das ist geil, macht Sinn.
I agree with you 100%.
Einfach nur dich zu stärken. Weil da holt den ein.
Yeah, so this is just it's just a little overcorrection.
Yep.
Right? So
I thought he was sliding into me.
That is actually a valid reason. You know, and then of course what this opens up here, because we took, you know, 2.5 plates of damage, not only does it slow our pace, but also opens the door for enemy number 2, 3, or 4.
I just full challenged this guy. I should have pinged him.
Ja,
Nice.
Wie gesagt hat, halt auch
So
komplett
here's
richtig.
what I'll tell you. I want you to use this. Remember the situation that we started off with the guy right in here? It's this situation. Have that ability to say, hey, I'm better than you. And if you lose the gunfight, hey, we're off to a 6-kill start here in first circle. By the way, in terms of 30 pace, we're looking at like 8 to 9 at first. Okay. So I always say confidence equals information plus execution. Right? We know that there's multiple teams.
They're on top of each other.
This is potentially 2. Is it 3? And my general rule of thumb is like,
Schreib mir
if you're
jetzt
not
mit,
sure
weil wir
how
wollen ja
many,
auch
do you have
sicher
enough
gehen.
for a UAV? Like, if you're not sure what you're pushing into, slow down for a second. And by slowing down, you speed up, because that allows you to confidently make the decision of what you want to do next. The one thing that you're lacking over...
Durch das neue Perk ist es auch einfach einfacher geworden, den Live-Ping nicht zu machen, sondern automatisch passiert der Live-Ping. Das ist halt ganz wichtig. Einfach wichtige Nades. Immer versuchen, ein 1 versus 1 rauszuholen, nicht in kein 1 gegen 4. Du kannst ein 1 gegen 2 versuchen, aber das würde ich dann auch wirklich erst machen, wenn man komplett sicher ist in den Fights. Und das stärkt dich halt. Immer sagen, du kannst das, einfach weitermachen. Dich selber stärken ist eine wichtige Sache dabei. Sollte man immer machen, egal in welchem Game. Vor allen Dingen, ich spiele auch viel Rainbow. Ich will mich jetzt aber erstmal auf COD fokussieren, neue Season verdankt und alles. Deshalb gucke ich das jetzt.
Over here is concrete information, right? This is overwhelming because you don't know what's happening. What solves that? Portable radar, right? And now all of a sudden, go back to what I said. You're off to an 8-kill start here in the first. Yep, we're on 30 pace here. Dying is inevitable. You're gonna die. It's gonna happen. It's Rebirth Island. It's sweaty. Team stack. It's going to happen. It's all about the regain at that point. And like I told you earlier, I think in a 30 you can die. You can die 4 or 5 times. Sometimes it takes a little bit of luck like this, where hey, you know, that hit rate was weird. Yep, you can't drop down, but this is a 1. This is a 1 right here. Trust it. Trust your ability to win the ones.
So I want to call this out here. Normally don't hover like this, but those guys both gave me sweaty, like just sweaty vibes, sweaty body language, so I kind of hovered for a second because I wanted to get them out.
Yeah, I mean, those guys were definitely sweaty. And look, you took both your ones there. You kicked it off your solo duo situation well. Look, if they're gonna fly back in, that's not our problem. I have a saying that people love, which is not my problem. If these guys want to be idiots and fly back in on you and be over aggressive, then we're gonna take the free kills. You gotta take these free kills when we're talking about dropping high kill games.
High kill, wirklich, du brauchst so viele free kills, wie du kannst.
Like, watch your cover here.
Yep, sound is freaking me out. I'm like, I'm gonna give myself a good spot so I don't get.
Ich weiß, am Anfang jetzt.
Perfect.
Meine Dings ist noch nicht so gut.
Holy smokes.
And then I'm thinking about this guy pinging me because I just killed him. So I think I decided to bail here.
They're ready.
Und dann extra
Don't forget about the dudes in bio either.
Wo mein Dings jetzt ist.
Now, you know what's crazy? Here's the difference. Notice that you are trying to solo quad here, right? Like, you're actually trying to 1v4 that team who you know is a better team. Like, I would be okay with you just ditching that and rotating out, because now they're not easy. There's 8 other enemy teams besides you and the one you were just fighting. So, hey, we go find them.
I sort of think of it like GTA stars sometimes. Like, I'm on that team's radar now for sure. And they're like at least talking about me, and I'm like, this isn't even worth it.
Ich habe Zombies gespielt, sehr viel. Kaum was anderes. Deshalb Rebirth Warzone, das war einfach nicht mehr meins. Durch Ursichsan war einfach nicht meine Map. Ich mochte sie
probably
nicht.
the biggest thing, like the overarching theme, just go back to like confidence equals information.
Wie ich jetzt auch schon wieder mir einfällt, einfach Informationen so gut wie möglich holen. Drohen viele spielen. Loadie machen. Free Kills versuchen zu holen in der Luft. Richtiges Loadie spielen. Gucken, wie du es für dich spielst. Nicht an die Meta-Loadouts glauben. Einfach dein eigenes Loadie machen und dann sehen, kannst du es nicht. Wir gucken das Video jetzt noch zu Ende und gehen dann ins COD. Machen erstmal dieses Multiplayer aufwärmen mit Aim Assist, ohne Aim Assist. Das Tracking mache ich erstmal nicht. Weil wenn ich das Tracking üben möchte, mache ich das anders mit meinem Controller. Weil das Tracking kann man ganz einfach auf Controller lernen. Du gehst einfach an eine normale Runde, trackst die Gegner so gut wie möglich aus der Luft, weil in normalen Runden, du kannst die Leute in der Luft tracken auch und alles. Natürlich, was er gemacht hat, du verfolgst deinen eigenen Mate, ist gut, weil du weißt nicht, wie der Bot reagiert. Und deshalb gucken wir gleich mit den Bots auch, dass ich das mache wie er. Mit Aim Assist, ohne Aim Assist, erst 5 Minuten, ohne Aim Assist, dann 5 Minuten, mit Aim Assist und dann schauen wir mal.
Plus execution, like your execution looks really good, you're still improving at that. The one part of it is going to be that information, right? Like getting UAVs up, portable radars, like not having bird's eye so that we can see levels, and then of course, as we talked about, like getting those thirsts strategically so that we can get that next piece of info and then act on it. The more information that you have, the easier it is for you to make decisions about who you want to push and where you want to position yourself.
Yeah, you're right, because I think I've definitely felt myself being much more decisive and confident when I have the information. I think it's now recognizing the fact that there's things I need to do better to get that information that don't revolve around a loadout or a buy station. And at the end, Joe gave me his major things for today. The 3 things that he thinks I need to work on going into week 3. My week 2 KD was a slight jump to a 2.7. And the adjustments to my training were the map ammo drill and the high sense, low sense drill. In week 3, it felt like things were coming together, even with the lag and annoying deaths. I was finally starting to get into flow state when playing. My aim was improving and I was really feeling the advantages of practicing the map ammo drill. The moment it all really came together though was a 20 bomb solo duos win. The breakdown for that is in this video. I made some really great videos in week 3 that helped me solidify what I was mastering. But the clip I think about the most was this textbook 1v4 that perfectly explains fighting outnumbered. In this 1v4 situation, I stood up during an occupation scan. Assuming the squad above is gonna hunt me, I beeline for the tunnel so I can make them all come from one direction. I force this 1v1 and pre-smoke the doorway for cover, then finish him for the rest of his team's positions. The map shows they're fairly spread out, so I run, replay, and then force my second 1v1. I run and reload again. Seeing that they're still chasing, I pre-aim this corner and force another 1v1. Now it's a real 1v1, so I get aggressive with good centering and finish the 1v4.
Nice. Ja, macht das schon. Definitiv clean.
My week 3 KD was a 4.2, and the evidence was extremely clear. I can drop a 30 bomb. I just needed to start believing that. This was it. I had 3 total gameplay sessions to put it all together and get the 30 bomb. There was no more learning, practicing, studying, just performance. Day 22, I was playing out of my mind, even in the sweatiest lobbies. The 5 games I played, I went 10-3, 19-2, 23-1, 20-5, 21-4.
Also jetzt nochmal, ich werde jeden Tag aufnehmen, wie meine Runden liefen, dann ausrechnen, also ich schreibe mir nach der Runde auf, wie oft ich gestorben bin, wie viele Kills ich hatte, einfach die KD dann hinterher auszurechnen, dann mache ich das auch nach Day 1, also ich gebe euch eine Week Answer, rechne das zusammen, nehme es durch 7 halt dann immer, schreibe mir auf, wie ich in meinen Matches stand, und das ist eigentlich auch eine der wichtigsten Sachen. Du musst gucken, wie du in deinen Matches stehst. Geh erstmal rein, versuch besser zu werden, mach dein Training den ganzen Tag und dann geht's auch voran.
But then things took a turn. Days 24 and 26, I couldn't buy a kill if I wanted to. I was getting slammed, and it was testing my confidence. Kidding me? Are you serious, bro? God, you guys are so annoying.
Aber ich kann ihn gerade komplett verstehen. Diese Momente hatte ich auch.
I know, it's just a game. I'm kind of embarrassed to even show you guys those clips if I'm being honest. But for me, I want you to know that this is more than that. It's not just a 30 bomb to impress you or to inflate my ego. I'm doing it for my job. I want to make the best Warzone content in the world. And to do that, I have to get back to being a great Warzone player again. But because of all that rage, I broke my controller. I just spent the last 2 months learning how to play controller, and now I broke mine with 2 days left to get the 30 bomb. The challenge was over. I lost my confidence, raged, and ruined a month of work. But I decided I wasn't gonna give up. Even if I had to use a controller with flipped buttons, layout, and shorter sticks, with only 1 day left, I was gonna do this. No excuses. So the morning of day 28, I drilled harder than ever, locked in, and dropped into my first game. I had so much confidence, I decided to do something I hadn't done to this point. Hot drop. No looting, no loadout, just go. And as I dropped in, basically the whole lobby was with me.
Macht er schön. Macht er richtig schön. Schade, dass er den nicht geschafft hat.
I played high ground as long as I could, but I had to get involved to keep my 30 pacing.
Ja, gut. Ja. Schön runter. Schöner Job. Schön. Finishen. Rein, play. Egal wie viele Plays.
As always, leaving high ground is dangerous.
Definitiv. Einfach spielen, Confidence behalten.
I landed back in,
4-1,
found a loadout box,
nice,
and kept
das
pushing.
ist eine der geilsten Sachen.
On my map was a team by themselves. I had no info, had to push in the open, turn my back to high ground, and come out alive.
Aber, was macht das?
Good
Er hat
flick.
den ersten.
First knock secured. Reposition.
Hat den zweiten.
Re-knock.
Er hat gehört, dass er genockt wurde. Geht rein.
Reach
Ich würd
out.
ihn jetzt finishen. Oder warten. Guck mal. Ich hätte einen gefinisht. Ich hätte den
No,
grad
I'm
gefinisht.
dead. Psych.
Aber er hat schlau gemacht. Und
Keep
hat das
pushing.
Team komplett gewonnen. Positiv SCG. Selbstpunkte. Fanggeile
pushing.
Zeiten. Du konntest easy damit machen. Toolkits
More.
komplett wichtig. Positiv da, wenn du halt Highground hattest, du hattest.
Okay, maybe not that much. I hit a quick regain and picked up 3 more by zone holding.
Macht der schlau, schön die Zone halten, die müssen rotieren, er nicht. Also schon, er hat aber nicht den Weg wie die. Er hat eine viel kleinere Zone-Rotation. Er hält sie einfach nur. Wieder gecrackt, er hat 100
Okay,
mehr der Gegner.
now we're in the
Schön.
end game. Only 7 left. You need 3 for the 30. Play smart.
Ohne gecallt, ganz wichtige Sache. Weiß, unter ihm sind 2 Leute. Er jumpt aber nicht zu hart down, kriegt den nicht. Oder hat ihn doch, nice. Er weiß, sein Mate ist nach unten. Deshalb geht er jetzt hoch und versucht ihn zu finishen, falls er kein Selfie hat. Er hat den Selfie, er hat ihn wieder genockt, er ist runtergefallen, der Gegner ist tot dadurch. Ganz wichtige Sache.
That was close.
Hat er schön gemacht. Nicht geplatet,
One
sondern lieber
more
gewartet
kill.
kurz und
A
dann
month of
gerepeat.
practice, a broken controller, the last day of the challenge, reputation on the line.
Und er hat seine 3 Sieger.
I can't yell though,
Schöne
it's 8
Sache.
a.m. And
Applaus
besides,
an ihn.
there's 4 left.
Er hat einen Monat lang Controller durchgespielt und hat eine 30er gewonnen. Hat einen wieder gecrackt. Ist rausgeslidet. Hält jetzt Zone. Die müssen zu ihm rotieren. Das ist ein sehr extremer Vorteil für ihn sogar. Er geht runter, macht er schlau. Er geht nicht auf den kompletten Highway. 3 Teams, 5 Leute. Du weißt, es kann nur gut für dich laufen. Du
Okay.
kannst die easy die
1v3 to
halten.
finish the game.
Das schafft er. Schaffst du. Komm, hol dir deine 33er Bombe.
1v2.
Er holt das 1v1 raus. Versucht immer das 1v1 zu fighten. Ganz wichtig. Schon hinter sich aufpassen. Er weiß, sie sind irgendwo da unten drin. Du musst ins Haus rein. Das ist eine scheiß Situation für den Anzug. Aber er piekt. Holt den ein. Er muss den
1v1. No
und hat
clue
nur
where he
1v1
is.
rausgeholt. Er hat keinen Intel. Er hat schlau gemacht. Er hat eh keine Sinnvoll gehabt oder so. Und da ist sie lieber drauf gegangen. Da ist er. Er holt sich den Finisher und hat die 33 gemacht. Gönn ich ihm richtig. Hat er wirklich schön
I
gespielt.
did it. In 28 days
Nice.
of training, I went from a guy who'd never played solo squads in his life to dropping a 33 kill win. My day 1 KD was a 1.8, and on day 30, it was up to a 7.8. And I did it all without any kind of shortcut. I know it's just a game and maybe I take it too serious, but what's the point of living if you don't challenge yourself, if you don't get good?
Yeah.
This was me getting good, showing you how to do it. There's gonna be 2 types of people that watch this video. The ones that are gonna keep making excuses for why everyone passes them up, and the ones that get good.
Was ein schönes Video. Ich spreche hier einmal die normale